And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at the Lord of the Ice Garden. Now, I didn't know anything about the Lord of the Ice Garden when it looked cool, and I looked at the board at Essen, and it was just these beautiful miniatures on the board, and it's based on a story, and in brief, the story, which, there's a lot of information in the rulebook itself, but there's a novel that it's based on. The story is that there's this planet that Earth sends some scientists to this planet, and these scientists find this M factor on this planet, which is like magic or whatever, and they go insane. The scientists, they split up and they start their own factions, they start destroying the world, carving out their own empires for bad or for worse. So the Earth sends this guy to come and bring these people home, and that's where it is. You're one of these people trying to carve your empire out, trying to avoid this guy coming to get your home. Vuko, stay away from us. It's a worker placement game, an area control game with special winning victories. When they explained all the different winning victories to me, winning conditions, I was very excited about it. Let's take a look at it. As you can see, there's quite a bit involved in this game. The board is a long board here. And what players are going to do is they're going to try to win the game in one of three different ways. Now, down here at the bottom, we have a track here for the yellow... I'm sorry, the dead snow. We keep calling it yellow snow. But anyhow, this moves around here. If this reaches all the way to 30, then things have gotten pretty bad. And players each have reputation over here. And when that happens, whoever's reputation is the least bad is the winner of the game. And this dude here, he comes and arrests everyone else and takes them back to Earth. Haha. So that's one way the game can end. Another way the game can end is by the point track over here. If someone gets to 50, they win, or at least whoever has most points that round. And then thirdly, each person has their own special victory condition. One guy is trying to get magical tokens to this tower. The red player is trying to build red towers. The green player, who has this really scary stuff, she's trying to lock two of the realms into nightmares. And the blue player is trying to send his little dragon guys around and eat pieces and send them off to the ice gardens where they will be happy forever up here in the ice gardens. I'm not really quite sure why all this is happening, but I'm sure if you play the book, you can figure it out. Now, the board is set up like this. Players are going to get to pick some regions. Each region is going to be giving victory points to whoever controls that region at the end of a turn. Control is given by cubes that are in a region. So like influence markers that you'll have, and also your special units. This special unit, for example, you can see that its base is 1, so it provides 1, while the next one has 2, and this big nasty looking tree thing has 3. And one of the cool things in the game is that all the different models for the players are different. You can see them over here. They all have some cool plastic models, and those are special units that you'll be able to build over the course of your game. In each game round, players are going to determine turn order through you can move forward 1 or 2 here, and it's going to tell you how many actions you get that turn, 3, 4, or 5, and then basically how far you can move the next time. And so you have to kind of figure out which one is the best place to go and turn order. So you might want to, let's say you're here, you might want to only move 1 because you're going to get 5 actions, but someone else might go farther than you simply because they want 3 actions and they want to go first. And so there's this interesting thing here. There's also some places up here. This gentleman who's coming around and arresting people can have special abilities, so you can add these abilities in and they will change what he does as he moves around the board, but you only need to use that for an advanced game. Once players have done that, turn order is going to be taking place over here, where players are going to be placing their actions, however many they have, on the different spots on each of these. Each of these has different spots where they can place, and then these are going to take place from top to bottom, unless you're playing the advanced game, in which case players will pick the order in which all the actions happen. The top one always happens first, and you go down. Now, the top one gives you a token of your choice. You can get money, or you can get these M factor tokens. The problem is when you put a worker in this spot, and there's room for unlimited of them, you also have to give up one of your influence cubes. So that can be tough. The next spot allows you basically to put people on the board depending on how many tokens you're willing to pay of the population tokens. And then the spot below that allows you to move people on the board. You have to pay money and you can move them around the board. And then there's another movement one here where you can pay 2 population tokens, and I guess you're using secret mountain areas. You can move people from one spot to any other spot on the board. Very fast travel, but more tokens. Then down here, you have the opportunity to basically say, I'm sorry, and this moves your reputation up, or you can spend an M factor token to get rid of one of this dude's tokens. Vuko is his name, and Vuko tokens are really bad tokens, and you don't want these tokens, so this is a way to get rid of them. Then down here, at this place, you have the opportunity to do all sorts of things which are going to decrease your reputation, but are going to help you. Now what you're going to do is you're going to be getting M factor tokens on your board, and you can see the 4 different boards here. They really have some cool artwork on these boards. Here's the lady with a nightmare. Man, she's spooky. But anyhow, you're going to get these M factor tokens, and you can decrease your reputation to move them across. When you move them across, they're going to let you build your level 1, level 2, or level 3 people. They also show you your special abilities that you have for those, and as the game progresses, you will have a chance to add more special abilities. Like this one adds influence. This one lets you transform things in ears. This one here lets me put out the nightmare token of doom, or something that lets you get to the nightmare. And so each of the different races has different special abilities. But adding special abilities, putting these people out, and moving the M factor tokens so that you can put them out is all going to decrease your reputation, which could possibly make you lose. And then down here, you are going to activate all your big characters, all your special characters. Some of them have the ability to move. 2 of them, like the 2 dragons, have the ability to send cubes from one spot to the other spot. Some of them will kill cubes in area. Some can kill other of the big characters in area, and they all have different special abilities. Then Vuko shows up. He's pretty irritated about life in general, and he'll go to whoever's reputation is the worst to their best spot. He gives that person a Vuko token, which is pretty annoying because whenever you're seeing who has the most in each territory, this subtracts 1 from your dudes. He also subtracts 1, and he kills one of your special characters in that region if they're there. And that's if you're not using any of the special abilities that this gentleman has. Then after that, you will check each region. The people there will score points. You will also, whoever controls the region, can get more tokens from that region, whether they are population tokens, coin tokens, or more M factor tokens. And so that, in a nutshell, is how to play. There's more involved, and especially if you look into how each player wins, but gives you kind of a feel as to how the game plays. The production values here are really good. I really like the models. I like how each faction had a very different feel to it. The green faction is the Nightmare faction. The blue faction is the For Glory and Honor. Well, that's at least the way I'm reading them. I'm not sure exactly. And I like it. Now, there is a lot going on, especially when it comes in regards to the special abilities. You're going to be constantly looking at the special abilities here, trying to remember what they each do. This guy here, the Pier Van Dyken, he's all about killing people. And he has a little Pied Piper, doo-doo-doo-doo, where he can say, come to my side. So there's like different things that they each have. But you're going to have to, there's also resource allocation where you're simply going to have to say, okay, I need gold to move people. I need the population tokens to add more people or sometimes move people. I need those M tokens so I can get more special units on the map. How do I use these? I need to make sure I'm controlling stuff to get points. And you got to watch the 3 victory conditions. Now, I feel that the victory conditions for each of the players are difficult to obtain, but they feel balanced. And I think they should be difficult. It shouldn't be that easy, but they're that threatening factor that's there. Like, for example, you're the dream catcher and you have one region in dreams. Everyone's watching you because you can't get another region, you win. If you're the guy who puts out towers and you put out 5 of them, suddenly it was like, wait a minute, if he puts out 2 more, he wins. And the blue player, if they control too many areas and they're killing people and sending them off to this ice guard, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, we can't let him control more areas. So there's that back and forth. I like that. But there's also the reputation thing, which I would bet for new players is almost always the way the game will end because you want to get out all these units, so you decrease your reputation. But that decreasing reputation, Vuko coming out and just slapping the snot out of you is really annoying. So you have to, it's hard to figure out how to come back from that. You can say, I'm sorry enough times to get rid of tokens and get your reputation back up, but that's a lot of actions. as you can see, I'm almost disjointed in how I'm talking about my thoughts in the game because there's so much going on. There's so many different things, controlling the areas, trying to get your special thing. Where the game is problematic is in the worker placement. I like worker placement games. I do not care about the changing where you put them in order. That's fiddly. That's an advanced rule, so that's easy to cut out. I also was not real big. How many action cubes you have in the turn order was another little fiddly part to the game. I thought that could have been eliminated. The game already has all these moving pieces. Why add those? Placing the workers out was just not as exciting as I wanted to be because there isn't that many places to put workers. There really isn't. You can get more people, and there's only a few spots for that. Movement, okay. There's a lot of spots to get people, but there's fewer spots for movement. And then other than movement, there's upgrade your units and say you're sorry to the Vuko or whatever that Dark Shadows, whatever the spot's called. And you often find yourself spending workers just to get a resource of a type, which means you get rid of one of your influence tokens, but they're not that. You can get rid of maybe 4 or 5 of them and probably still do okay over the course of the game. I just felt like there should have been more place to put people, and placing the people and the things that they gave you wasn't as satisfying as I wanted. The one section that's really interesting where you pay reputation points and buy and upgrade the special units, that's like the focus of the game, and yet you can't go there as often as you want to because it really, really decreases your reputation. And Vuku just slaps you so hard that it's hard to do that often. I felt like it would have been good if they had 1 or 2 more spots to put people. I'm also not sure. I've only actually played this game, the times that I've played it, have only been with 4 players. And I feel every time I'm like, I don't want to play this with 3. I don't want to play it with 2 because it feels like the 4 different factions balance each other out. And so it feels like it's supposed to be a 4-player game. But visually striking, interesting ideas here. It just wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. I don't know how else to describe it. I like all the different ideas, but it almost was too much to figure out where everything went. And then in the end, the worker placement and the fact that it just wasn't that interesting and that being a main chunk of the game kind of just dialed it down for me a little bit. So I think this game is like on the cusp of being this really cool game, but not there yet. Could have used probably some more development. But that's Lord of the Ice Garden. Dice Tower Judgment, almost.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Tutup pintunya!